We all know that college can be stressful. Last semester, 77% of college students report experiencing moderate to serious mental distress, and 64% of students drop out of college because of mental health problems. Today, we will hear from students, student athletes, and 2 chancellors from across the state as they share their own personal stories about mental health and how college campuses across the state are helping to improve mental wellness. Coming right up on Every Day with Kamryn. I am Kamryn Dixon, and welcome to Every Day with Kamryn. Thanks for tuning in to this special episode. Today, we are diving into the deep water of mental health on college campuses. Let's listen to these stories, experiences, and overall hope that mental health will be taken more seriously. Everybody dreams of graduating high school and beginning their college journey. For years, you heard that college would be some of the best years of your life. But what happens when you're met with the intense reality of exams, missing home, and trying to fit in? Many college students find themselves putting their mental health on the back burner as a result. 2 students from UNC Chapel Hill will explain just how difficult that transition from high school to college can be and why community is so important.
You know, you would think that there would be a lot of community for people on college campuses. You move in at Carolina, you have to stay in a dorm your freshman year until you have, thousands of students on this campus. Hundreds of people living in your dorm. And, you would think you wouldn't feel alone. And, everyone has a roommate. Most people have roommates. But a lot of people in this transition kind of get lost. Because, it's the first time without their parents. It's the first time that they're in a new place and whatnot, and that can be very isolating, and a lot of people have a hard time transitioning into that. And also, I think it's hard to find community on college campuses because there is that sense of you're surrounded by all these people, and a lot of people have not had to seek out community and seek out things that they wanted. Either it was just at the school they attended and that was where they found their family. But once you're kind of stripped of all those things and you have to find community on your own, it can be really difficult, especially if you're a naturally inclined shy person or introverted person. It can be really difficult transitioning not only into a new place, a new academic life, a new life, but also then trying to focus on your social well-being and finding community amongst balancing your academic life as well.
I don't believe that it is widely agreeable and understood just how large of a transition it is from high school to college. And so a lot of students, even me, kind of coming in, dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and just being far away from home for the first time. There are a lot of emotional things that happen in that time and in that transition. And I don't think that our universities are well equipped for that. I think that they're more equipped for mental health crises and other things for the adjusted and long-term college student, but for those who are just coming in, when we're navigating a lot of different spaces and navigating some conflicting feelings and figuring out who we are outside of our parents, that's a very difficult thing. And so I think that in a lot of ways our universities are combating a lot of societal transitions, a lot of just growing pains in general. And so I think that having resources and programs that cater to that transition from high school to undergrad will best support student mental health across all of our campuses across the nation.
A survey from virtual health services provider found 50% of college students identified their mental health struggles as their top stressor for 2023. We heard from 2 students who shared their own personal testimonies on balancing their studies on top of living up to the college experience they had always dreamed of.
The pandemic definitely affected my mental health, and I think everybody's mental health going into my freshman year. I know that making friends was something I was really stressed out about. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I think growing up, doing extracurricular activities and seeing my friends at school every day, I never really had to go out of my way to make friends. It just kind of happened for me because I was with these people all the time. And then dealing with the pandemic where you can't see anybody made it a lot more stressful trying to go to college than first of all, for me, figure out how in the world do I even like make friends without these kinds of activities to participate in. Um, and then not even having the ability to participate in those activities, not just not having them because I wasn't in high school doing the same things anymore, but like my freshman year, there was no activities to get involved with, no organizations on campus. So that was really hard for me. I got to be honest. I went to ECU first and then transferred to UNCW. And that was a big reason for me because I really wanted to go in freshman year. And I kind of had this idea of meeting all these new people, making these new friends, and then got there and realized A, I don't really know how. And then B, there's nothing for me to join to make friends. So I know the pandemic was difficult for everybody, obviously. And especially my freshman year being 2020, like it took a second for college campuses to realize like what to do about it. But yeah, I feel like finding my group of people and the people who would support me and that friend group that I was really excited for in college, um, that was made really, really difficult by the pandemic. And as everyone, I felt super isolated.
At UNC, I'm a biology major on the pre-med track with minors in chemistry and Spanish for the profession. So with that comes a very heavy course load that's very much rooted in STEM. And I think a most memorable time for me was the fall of my junior year. I was in Organic Chemistry 1 and Anatomy and Physiology 1 lecture and lab, as well as my other courses that pertain to me graduating on time. But I was going through a really trying time academically. It was right around November fall break, so we just had finished a third round of midterms. We were going into finals, and I just wasn't getting the results that I was expecting, and I was putting in the dedication to the class that need be, but I just felt that I was sacrificing my mental health, my social life, and so much more to do well in this class. And when I would go to professors and teachers to try to ask for avenues for help and stuff, I was always just kind of met with, we'll work harder, we'll do better, there's people you can talk to, but it never felt like that would be the solution for me in that moment. And so for me, it led to kind of my own mental health crisis that I went through, that I felt that I just had to push through because I knew that I wouldn't get really any accommodations or anything as far as any of my test taking or any things that I was going through at that time.
It's no secret that being a student athlete is a difficult task. Not only do they have to excel in the classroom and manage their social life, but they're also expected to attend workouts, practices, and games, and perform to the very best of their ability. 3 athletes from across the state shared their own challenges with mental health, while also balancing academics and athletics.
I actually remember coming to my coach last season, and I remember telling her that I was having a hard time mentally and I was having difficulty performing well in practices, and I was having difficulty in school as well. And I told her that I think I needed to take a step back for a bit. And I feel like the way that the conversation went, they told me that I just was being kind of dramatic and that I kind of needed to, this is how life is kind of thing. Like I wasn't really felt pitied or like felt bad for. So, and I'm also aware of like another teammate who went through something similar and had a family loss, and that somehow resulted in her getting bullied on the team. And when this was brought to the attention of the coach, um, she kind of just she didn't really do anything to help that either. So I don't feel like our coaches are the best resources for mental health um, on this team.
Some hard times that I dealt with, it happened early on in my undergraduate years in my freshman and sophomore year, dealing with my athletics. I played football at UNC, so this happened my freshman and sophomore year. I was given harsh words when I was playing football. It just felt there was times where I felt like because of those words, there was times that I felt like I didn't belong on the team. It felt like I didn't belong where I was supposed to be. I didn't belong in the school. I didn't belong playing. I didn't feel like I needed to play football. And when I was in that bad place mentally, I reached out to our sports psychologists, our mental health resources here, at University of North Carolina, and they really helped me a lot, just understanding that I'm greater than the sport I play. I'm more than just a football player. I have to understand that. Even though words hurt, I got to understand that this is just constructive criticism, understanding that just hear what they have to say, not how they say it. And I feel like they helped me out in that aspect and made me not only into a better football player, but it helped me become a better man.
I definitely think my time here being at state, I have put my mental health on a back burner. As athletes, we want to come off as mentally tough. We deal with a lot of extra pressure, so performance on the field, performance in the classroom, so we typically put off our mental health. We're really busy with games, tutoring, practice, getting your work done, so you don't always feel like you have time to really focus on your mental health. Another thing that I've struggled with while my time here at state is just disassociating myself from my sport. So for example, say I'm not having the best game, that would affect my overall mood. However, we can reach out to our coaches, but it's more of us reaching out to them versus them reaching out to us, just because as an athlete, you don't want to present yourself as not okay. You'll never not see me with a smile at my facility, even if, I'm not okay that day or not feeling my best. We meet with a sports psychiatrist every week, and they just kind of talk about how to deal with the pressures on the field and the classroom, how you communicate with your teammates, things like that. There is an option to meet with them individually. However, there are some athletes that aren't as comfortable doing that just because they feel like they could be punished by not being able to participate in activities that week or even having to take some time away from their sport.
In fall 2021, 24% of male and 36% of female athletes felt so depressed that it was difficult to function, according to an annual survey from the NCAA. Unfortunately, athletes fear losing scholarships, playing time, or even their degrees should they take a mental health leave. Hear from two chancellors on what changes they are making to not only protect the mental health of their student athletes, but their entire student body.
I definitely think we at Elizabeth City State University do a good job of protecting our students from the standpoint of resolving any issues they may have dealing with mental health. One thing that we always do is I tell my campus to protect their peace, and what that means is if you're not feeling well, if you see someone struggling, if you feel like you're going through a difficult time, say something. And if you see your roommate or the person beside you in the classroom showing the same signs, say something. So we always create a culture around see something, say something, so that we can get the person the help that's needed at that particular time. So we've been trying to identify more grant funding, more partnerships with DHHS and others who offer more resources for mental health on our campus. We've also increased the number of staff in our counseling center. Having more professional staff on campus is important, but building a culture of awareness, talking with our faculty and staff about see something, say something, and also about helping students to get the help that they need. And then we also have to go even further than students to look at our faculty and staff and making sure they understand their benefit packages, that they can utilize any mental health counseling services through their benefits package as state employees. So really trying to focus on awareness and also resources in regards to additional staff and opportunities, usage of technology like telehealth and other things to help give us the number of options there for the standpoint of capacity building, so that everyone can have access to someone to help them if they're experiencing that. Because the volume of mental health on our campuses, we've seen it increase since the pandemic across all college campuses in the country. So beefing up that, staffing up that office and looking at partnerships is going to be very beneficial for us, and putting more funding into mental health, whether that's in the classroom, outside the classroom, the whole college experience, we want to make sure that we have everything in place that's necessary to help our students, faculty, and staff when they're in a time of need.
Fayetteville State University, of course, we want to be all that we can be for our students. That being said, we have historically been an institution that's been, been challenged with regard to resources, and there are some things that we have to have, and mental health here in recent years is steadily and rapidly going from nice to have to you gotta have, as relates to why students are choosing certain institutions over others. And so we've got a strong leadership team here at Fayetteville State University. I think we have done the best that we can do, but also, Ms. Dixon, I like the path that we're on. I got here March 15th in height of March 15th, 2021, in the height of COVID. And I'd like to share with you and your audience maybe a couple of points here that I think could be helpful in some of the data points that's really driven us in our decision making as it relates to kind of our mental health services and things of that need. And so you see here 2020, 2021, you see our number of a little under 300 with counseling students engaged in counseling services. You see counseling appointments over 1,100, and then COVID counseling consultants contacts provided to students a little under 900. And again, that's from 2020 to 2021. One of the things that we're excited about when you look at the UNC system, Kamryn, we're the only institution currently in all the UNC system that does not have a health and wellness center. But we are going to be adding our name to that list.
Chancellor Allison also shared that Fayetteville State University will be adding an additional counselor to their staff beginning fall 2023, and students will now have access to 24-hour online telehealth counseling services. The $11.1 million Health and Wellness Center project is expected to open in fall 2025. With campuses set to open in the next few weeks, the student body president at UNC Chapel Hill expressed why it is important for students to also take part in being a catalyst for change and mental health awareness across their universities and beyond.
I hope to be the voice and to be the advocate. A lot of students don't have the same access to these spaces in the way that I do, that I'm so blessed to have and I'm grateful for. And so a lot of what I've already done is to make sure that there's a smooth transition with the new counseling and psychological services director, and making sure that mental health is given more of a spotlight in the university administration spaces. Those are the works and the efforts that I'm already doing. I'm hoping to bring even more students into that space. And so with my administration having my department for student safety and wellness, making sure that we're having programming and events and all these initiatives centered around making sure that students are okay and that we're all giving ourselves grace as we navigate through our time at Carolina. And so I'm really doing all I can to really bridge the gap and to make sure all students know that they belong in these spaces and to make sure that they have the support to make it through the 4 years at Carolina.
Yes, and that support and reminding students that they are not alone is absolutely critical. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in our interviews and shared their mental health story. I hope that today's show serves as a reminder that your mental health and wellness should be a top priority. As a college student myself, I am committed to putting myself first, setting boundaries, and celebrating my academic accomplishments, even when times get tough. I will always strive to encourage my peers to focus on their mental health as well, because we all know that college can get overwhelming at times. Remember, this conversation should not stop here. Always continue to be an advocate in your community, spread awareness, and support those around you. From Everyday with Kamryn, I'm Kamryn Dixon. Thank you for watching.